Staying in the American League, but moving to your division, the East, Dylan, the Yankees now behind Boston in those division standings. They will go with 6 starters this time through the rotation after adding Sonny Gray. Here's what manager Joe Girardi had to say on sticking with that strategy potentially long term.
I would not lean towards a 6-man rotation because in theory it sounds great, but now you have 6 relievers and 6 starters, and you get rid of one of your relievers that can give you distance. It puts you in a bind. You know, if the commissioner would let me add another man on the roster and have 26, I would really think about it. But I called and he said no. So, so it just, you know, I know it sounds good in theory, but for the construction of a roster, it's really hard on a roster.
So your man Joe Girardi said the Yankees will not go to a 6-man rotation full-time. Dylan, these 3 pitchers are the bullpen candidates for the Bronx Bombers. Jordan Montgomery, Masahiro Tanaka, Jaime Garcia, recently acquired. Who do you think will be the odd man out in the Yankees rotation? Certainly it won't be Tanaka.
No, it won't. He's trended upwards as of late. I know it's still a 5+ ERA, but he's looked a lot better. You've given some great advice recently with daily fantasy play of when to plug him in. And recently, I won a lot of money. You told me to plug him in. And what do you have, 14 Ks
14
that night?
punchies of the Rays.
So Jordan Montgomery is the guy that's going to get bumped from this rotation. He's a young pitcher. He's only 24 years old. And as great as he's been, because I think that's really what he's been very solid, as Tanaka's not been, and Pineda obviously not been consistent, and now hurt for the rest of the year. Jordan Montgomery has done a great job for a young pitcher with low expectations of overachieving and kind of holding down the fort until the deadline, until the cavalry came. And that cavalry's name is Jaime Garcia, and more importantly, Sonny Gray. Now that you have Sonny Gray, Jaime Garcia, certainly Luis Severino has been the most consistent Yankee all year. What are you going to put CC in the bullpen? I mean, he's an old vet. You keep him going every year, and he's actually every 5th turn, and he's been pretty good. Yeah. And Tanaka, you keep out there, especially since he's been trending upward. When you look at Jordan Montgomery, this is uncharted territory as you get to the dog days of the end of August into September. I really do think that he's a guy that can help this team in a long relief if Tanaka struggles. We know the splits day to night. Say Tanaka's term comes on a day game and he flounders a little bit. You go to Jordan Montgomery, who can give you a little bit of length. I think as a young pitcher who's not used to this amount of innings on his arm, you go to the bullpen, and at that point, that would be a very comfortable spot for him, and you slide Jaime, you slide Sonny right into the rotation. You got a lot of veterans who have postseason experience, and you run with it. Exactly what Joe Girardi said. Roster-wise, with only 25, it hampers the bullpen and hampers the field players, so I think Jordan Montgomery is the odd